Yeah, so my name is Lawrence Cook, but I go by Larry all the time because to me it's just less formal. And I was born in Houston. I grew up part in Third Ward, part in Fourth Ward. I lived most of my life in Fourth Ward in Houston, and you know, it was just a cool little neighborhood close to downtown, where a lot of the people who like were maids for River Oaks. They all lived there, and then they could just get on the bus right there and go, just straight down the street into River Oaks and, do their gig, come home every day. Yeah, so, and it was one of the first, black neighborhoods in Houston. So that's mainly where I grew up. Okay.
I saw one of your EODs, and I didn't know it was you. I
Mm-hmm.
was I was off, and I still get the team's notification.
Yeah.
And it said Lawrence did the EOD from food. I said, who in the world is Lawrence?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had no idea, and it wasn't until it was another day where you had closed footwear and I was there. When
Mm-hmm.
I got home, I said, his name is Lawrence? I had no clue.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
it was one of the random new hires.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Lawrence, and I never talk about my middle name. So it's just, yeah.
Gotcha. I know because mine is Arabius.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
People don't let it die. As soon as they
Yeah.
hear it, they call me Arabius all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
hate it so much.
Yeah, so, yeah. Then you understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So what got you into being such an outdoorsman? Was that something that always been that way?
Yeah, yeah. My father was an outdoorsman, but back in the day, they used to call him sportsman, right?
Right.
And yeah, so he was a sportsman, and he liked hunting and fishing mostly, but I could never get him to camp. I always wanted to try camping, and he had been in the military, and just I guess the military version of camping, just because most of the guys I know who come out of there, and Dario is the exception, they come out of there, they don't want to go camping anymore. They don't want to sleep on the ground anymore. None of that, right? And so I could never get him to go. And then I joined the Boy Scouts, and it was kind of like a troop. You get ready to go camp. They build you up. Oh yeah, we're gonna go do this, do that, and then they go, well, I got to work. Can some of your fathers take you? No, that's why we're with you. you know. So yeah, so when my daughter was born, well, not born, but after a certain amount of years, we got her in Girl Scouts, and camping was part of that. And I was like, yeah, she's going camping. So took her camping, and I just loved it. It's funny. There's some things in my life that I can just look at and go, man, I'm gonna love that if I ever get to try it. That camping and motorcycling and bicycling is like things I just saw, and I was like, if I ever get a shot at that, I'm gonna do it. And that's how camping was, man. I just got out there and started doing it with her. Then they had a backpacking program within Girl Scouts that a lot of people don't seem to know about, And I started in with that program. Then I started being like one of the, volunteers with that program and, guiding girls on trips and stuff. And then after my daughter went off to college, left me there, right? And I couldn't get out. It's like, no, you got to come back because, we got all these girls to teach, So, I started teaching and guiding and, for, I don't know, another 10 years after she was gone. Yeah, so.
I want to get my kid into camping, but he's in that phrase where he's 7. He just turned 7 in November. He's afraid of everything.
Yeah.
I know this past Earth Day, because I love outside and all that kind of thing, I try to always do something on Earth Day. So I took him to a local park to plant flowers.
Yeah.
Anything that moved or made a sound or a leaf fell out of a tree, he was freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
He's not ready yet.
Yeah,
He's not ready yet.
that's my friend's wife. She's like that, but she's been on like 3 camping trips now, and slowly, you start realizing that these are just natural things.
Yeah.
And even I didn't like spiders when I first started doing that. It's like spiders all over the place too.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at their webs and how they build their webs, and I'm like, dang, that must be the most intelligent creature on this planet.
It's a real intricate setup.
Yeah.
I thought about that. We went out to South Lano. Was that last year or the year before?
Mm-hmm.
And Carl said, "You see all these glowing circles in the grass?
Yeah.
What was that? Those are spiders. You lying? There's no way it's that many spiders just sitting around.
Yeah, yeah. So you're talking about the diamond eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. That's because I was like that too. I was like, how can all of those things be spiders? And then you get up close and there they are looking at you, and they'll blink, and you go like, the light will go out, and then it'll come back on. You're like, oh wow, yeah.
Craziness, man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we got. So
Yeah.
on an average regular day, what's your morning routine look like?
Ooh, get up, take care of the dog first. Give her. She's got certain meds she's got to take, and I do that, and then it's like I get a cup of coffee, and that's why I like working the late shift at work because I'll fool around. And I used to get up at 4:00 in the morning, go work out, go to work, blah blah blah. Right now, it's like I get up at 8. I got to have a cup of coffee. I can't walk out the door. I take care of the dog, and maybe by 9:00. We're ready for a run, and I go out. So I usually work out before I come to work too, because I always like working out, yeah. And then, that's about then. Eventually, eat some breakfast and get on with it. Yeah.
You got a evening routine, or is it just come in the house and crash out?
Yeah, it's just crash out, man. Our job is so physical for me at this age that there ain't a whole lot of like, oh, let's go home and do something, And that's why I don't care about getting off early either, because I'm come home, I'm just gonna sit on the sofa till tomorrow, because man,
car top boxes and taking
hanging bikes all day, it gets tiring, man.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how did you meet your wife?
So that's really a cool story. I was living in Austin, I was going to college and everything, and I worked in a shoe store in Austin, which is why I still sell shoes now sometimes. And I got on the bus to go to work, and it was at this mall, about 3 miles away. And she was sitting there, she was reading a book on the bus, right? But paid me no attention, just totally ignored me. I was like, dang, what's wrong? Got on my suit, I'm looking clean, because back then you had to wear suits to work, in that kind of business. And I got off the bus at work, and I went and worked, and then I went to lunch, and it was a hot dog stand, and there was no seats left except one with her, right? And I was like, hey, excuse me, can I, sit there? I was like, man, it's that same chick. I'm gonna sit down here and talk to her. And I sat down there, and and then we started talking, and then it was like, hey, we found out we had, stuff in common. It's like, hey, yeah, you want to go out sometime? Da 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 da. And then we started dating after that. Yeah, and that was kind of a cool story, because it was like, I'd been ignored, and I'm like, nah, I ain't taking that. I'm like, shoot, I'm gonna talk to this chick.
Oh, you're married now?
Ooh, bro. This is 23,
oh, man.
40 years. Yeah.
Wow, longer than I've been alive.
Yeah, see? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
We can only aspire.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
And you y'all have one
Just
kid?
one daughter, yeah. Uh-huh.
Man.
Yeah.
Right, that's going to be my future too, just one.
Yeah, hey, if you get it right the first time, don't worry about it. Yeah, Sure.
So, considering the holidays, what's your favorite holiday movie?
So How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm an animated guy. I love animated. I love cartoons. And so like people movies. Yeah, they're okay. But How the Grinch Stole Christmas and the Charlie Brown Christmas.
Okay.
Probably I got two. Yeah, I got to have those two at Christmas.
Yeah. Man, I was
to feel right.
That came out in '65.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, can you believe that? Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I know. Yeah, that blows my mind. It's like, man, I've been watching that cartoon for 50 years already. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah.
So speaking of 50, how old are you? Because I thought first looking I was like late 40s.
Mm-hmm. No. I'm 67.
Would have never guessed it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm up there, bro.
Do you feel like the fact that you continue to work out so much and continue to remain active keeps you youthful?
Yeah, I do. Until it hurts. Because that's what I tell people. It don't hurt on the outside. It hurts on the inside. So y'all see me, it's like, oh yeah, that's Larry. No, Larry's hurting on the inside. Some days. But that's what I can't ever. If I quit, I can't quit. I don't know how to quit. Yeah, it's just something I do.
A lot of us that are younger have always like looked at anything past 45 is old, but like now that I'm, almost 35, that's not true. It's not accurate because you like Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, he don't even move slow.
Yeah. I know.
So, I've gotten to a place now where I realize that you're really only as old as you allow yourself to be.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, if you sit down, stop everything, don't do anything but put your feet up, then things are gonna start getting stiff.
Mm-hmm.
Elbows and knees are not gonna bend. So
And you have to do it more frequently as you get older because it takes less time to get stiff. Like I can get stiff on the drive home from work, you know. So I have to. You just have to constantly keep moving. And if you stop, you know, and start laying down or sitting on the sofa, that's it, man. You know, you spend too much time doing that, and that, you know, it gets to be permanent. Yeah, yeah,
man, they say black don't crack, man.
yeah.
The older I get, the more true that statement is.
Well, when you told me about Nick, I was like, whoa, really? Yeah. That's what I wanted to say. Black don't crack.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
He is somewhere between 47 and 50.
Mm-hmm.
He's not 50 yet. I know he's not 50 yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's at or 46, but he's not no younger than 46. I remember us talking about it. I just cannot remember what age he actually said.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And then as far as childhood, do you have a favorite childhood memory that you can think of?
Oh man. Oh, there's probably several, but you know, it'd probably be my first dog.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, when I got him, it was a little beagle.
Mm-hmm.
You know, little beagle pup. I was probably in first or second grade. Yeah. Uh-huh.
You remember his name?
Yeah, Bullet.
Okay.
Because there was this Roy Rogers show, right? You know, and his dog was Bullet. You know. Yeah. Yeah.
And do you have a funny story that your family likes to tell about you, like at holiday gatherings, or everybody will always bring up when Larry did this?
Yeah. No, you know, that's fun because that's one of those questions you asked. You know, when I looked at the question, I was like, dang, I can't remember anything like that.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe I'm blanking it out because
Yeah.
I'm sure they got stuff that they on me.
Yeah.
You know, that they do, and you know, but I just don't remember what it is, man.
Man, so when I was maybe probably 22 or so, I set my mom's backyard on fire.
Mm-hmm.
But it was kind of an accident.
Okay, yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't do it on purpose. We had a tree that fell over. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
We had a tree that fell over. And for whatever reason, the pit that created, I wanted to set that on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh.
I set the whole yard on fire.
Yeah, yeah.
And so the fire marshal came, and they had to put it out.
Mm-hmm.
But before they got there, like, we were trying to put it out with cups of water and stuff. So my mom comes home. She's got a chain gang going with passing pots out of the house.
Yeah.
Dump it, rotate it back, and, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, she tells that every chance she can get.
Yeah. Oh man, that was pretty good. I like that. Yeah, yeah. Shoot.
Is there anything about you that people seem to not be able to understand?
You know, in the business we're in, I think people get it. But the business I used to be in, people didn't understand me being nice.
Okay.
You know, I would help people, you know, like with their part of the projects or whatever. They didn't understand it. They'd still, you know, like just really, it's like, let's get Larry to do it because, you know, we can get him to do it. And, then, you know, when my stuff is behind, it's like, oh, can't help you, man. I'm, you know, I'm too busy doing this. And they didn't understand, you know, or if I went to somebody, you know, and said, hey, man, you're late, you know, you need to get on this. And it would be like, yeah, right. And they didn't understand because, you know, I wouldn't just go, you know, you got to get that done now, blah, 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 blah. They didn't understand. I was just trying to treat them like a human being. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't treat people like dirt, you know, in a general sense. You know, there's a few. Okay. You know, but, you know, and I don't think they ever understood that, you know, I'm just treating you the way I want to be treated. I'm not, you know, I'm not going to ever be the guy that, you know, just came down on you. But I need, you know, I need stuff to be done, you know. So, yeah, I think that was it. I was a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
Yeah, for 35 years, man. Nice. Yeah, that was a long time.
Is
yeah.
the company still around?
Yeah. I worked for 2 companies during that time. One for 16 years and then one for 19 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're both still around. Wow. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, that's dope.
Yeah.
Oh, you said we skipping that one, the compliment one.
Yeah. I can't think of it. You know.
This one is real interesting. Have you ever gotten an insult that you were actually proud of what they tried to use against you?
Yes, I do. I thought, man, it just popped. The minute you said it, I saw that. I was like, wow. Because so when I was in college, man, I barely graduated with a 2.0, right? Because, you know, it was like, I didn't really want to be an engineer. What I wanted to be was a draftsman, okay. You know, which was like the next, I could have gone to community college and become that. Mm-hmm. But because of my parents, they like, they were academics, right? And so they had all these degrees and stuff. And they're like, no, you're going to college. So I said, well, engineering is a similar thing. And it really wasn't, and I got into the program and I worked hard to get through that program. And I got down, I had to go like one summer. It took me 5 years to finish a 4-year program. And that last summer I'm going to school, right? And this lady, who's like a secretary in the department, she pulled up my grades and stuff, because I had to, take a transcript somewhere or something. And she said, you ain't going to finish. You ain't never going to finish. You're not going to be an engineer. She just told me, just like, you ain't got the stuff, And I had one class to take, and all I had to do was make a B in that class. And I'm like, I'm on it. That day, I went and played racquetball for an hour and a half, man. And, I was sweating, I was hurting, I was just pissed, and I just wore myself out. And then, the next day I started going to class and I pumped it out, Yeah, I just racked it up, said, oh, I'm getting this degree. And I did, But yeah, that was the biggest insult I've ever had. I was like, wow, why would you say that to somebody?
Did you ever end up seeing her after you completed
Nah, and I didn't even really care. It's like,
Man, I'm so spiteful. I would have had to take my degree and find her. I'm like, you see this?
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I'm like, I just walk on.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Out of the jobs that you have had, what's the best one so far?
REI.
Yeah.
I can't believe, so like I said, I did 35 years at that job, but I never got to the point. The people, I never really liked the job because the people were always like, I got mine, you got to get yours, And it was never like, like we kind of a team thing, Yet they always try to teach you how to build team and how to do teamwork and all that stuff, but they never used it. It was the king and the minions, the project manager and everybody underneath him, and everybody underneath him was scrambling to be the king, So, for 35 years it was like, this ain't really me.
Yeah.
But, I'm here, and the money was just too good.
Yeah, I can imagine.
That was the whole problem. You start making that big money, man. It's like, I don't think I want to leave this. Yeah. But REI, man, it's just what people say. And people come in all the time. And they're like, man, this really seems like a cool job. And it's like, it reflects, because it is.
I think several times the REI has been, I don't know what the name of it is. There's a list of the top jobs or the best jobs in America.
The Forbes. Yeah, it's been on the Forbes, like, top 100 for, I don't know how long. Yeah. The best jobs to have.
I randomly, I had a security job before I started REI, and I lost it because of budget cuts.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just looking around for where I could go. I saw REI.
Mm-hmm.
I had never actually physically seen it until probably right after I applied, and there was one in the Willowbrook area.
Yeah.
I thought that was the only one.
Yeah.
There were more. And so when I applied, I thought that's why I was applying it.
Mm-hmm.
And Carly is the one who interviewed me.
Yeah.
And so she sent me the address and then pulled it up in the GPS. I was like, what in the world? Okay, but I didn't complain. I went anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of times I've considered quitting just to get my time back. There's nothing wrong,
Mm-hmm.
But the second I walk in the REI, it's just something about being there. And I
Yeah.
think because it signifies or symbolizes so many things that I love.
Yeah.
The outdoors and
Mm-hmm.
certain sports and even the people.
Yeah. Or into those same things. Yeah.
You're able to come to work and have those conversations. Because a lot of times outside of work, if it's something that you really love, it's hard to find people who share your same passion.
Right.
And at REI, we all the same.
Yeah.
We're all gearheads. We all love camping, hiking, biking, everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, all those things. So it is.
So, what's the worst job you've ever had?
Ooh. Okay. Man. So there were times in that the job I worked for 35 years, 16 here, 19 there, there were times in that were really like low points, for me. So it was like, it's probably not one company, but, just one project that was just like, that really killed me because of the type of people who ran the job or something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you could start a business, what would it be?
And I'm messing with them all the time. Lately it's actually several things that there's not a business I'd like to start. Okay, let's go back. Okay, that's a tough question because like in a way, I don't categorize myself into one area, and it's like I could do like 15 different things, and probably enjoy them all. But one thing, it's not really a business, but to have a book published would be like one thing, which is kind of a business that pays money. Yeah. And then lately, what the things I've been looking at are like, I kind of want to run a barbecue stand. I would love to run a barbecue because I think I can cook the hell out of some ribs, man. And I experiment with stuff. And my daughter, she's my spice person. She comes up, we used to buy spice from Good Company Barbecue, right, in Houston. Shoot, man, my daughter said, I can do this. Boom, she started throwing stuff together and mixing stuff, and it's crazy, what she can do. And we do pretty good stuff, and so I thought about that. And before that, because, REI is good, but like we said, it doesn't pay a whole lot. So I thought about being commercial trucker, and I still kind of think about that because for me, being able to travel across the U.S., and I'm not sure that it's the same when you're working, but when it's a job, but just to be able to travel across the country and see the country, because I'm going to do that anyway eventually, it's just, I might as well get paid for it, and so, I had been thinking about that too.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably the best way to actually be able to do some things when you do that would be the hot shot driving.
Yeah.
As opposed to maybe working for like a big trucking company.
Mm-hmm.
Because really your dispatcher sends you to certain jobs.
Yeah.
And you can choose how long you want to stay on the road.
Right.
So if you want to do a couple of loads and then say, you know what, this load is going to end in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take me a weekend and,
Yeah.
that's going to be the best way to get that done.
Yeah, and that's what. So I've been looking at hot shotting too, because buying a dually, and then just getting a bigger trailer for it and do that, man. That's part of. But I would still go ahead and get my Class A CDL, and because it gives you a little more power,
Right.
if you do it that way. And so that's on my mind too. But my wife doesn't like that because it's like I got to put. It takes so much more investment, to do that.
Yeah.
So, we've been going back and forth on that one.
And then you'll be gone a good bit.
Yeah.
Probably a couple week or so.
As an engineer, I spent a lot of time gone. So, everybody's used to that,
Gotcha.
And then I was gone a lot more then. I'd be gone like a year assignment here, 2 years there, but coming home like every 6 weeks, maybe if I was lucky, I'd come home every month. Well, I had one job in Beaumont. I could come home every weekend. So they're kind of used to me being gone and and coming home and stuff like that. So
Is that like oil field engineering or offshore?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah, some of it was offshore, and some of it was just in refineries,
Okay.
in different places like in Mississippi and Louisiana and parts of Texas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything that you feel like you failed at, and what did you learn from that experience?
Yeah. Never go hiking with young guys. Yeah. No, man. So me and my nephew, we did part of the Appalachian Trail. And I mean, it just wasn't even a big part of it. But it was, and I trained like crazy to get ready for this thing. This was about 4 years ago. And we get there, and we live in Houston, it's all flat. And the first part is from a place called Fontana Dam. It's just straight uphill. So I'm struggling to get up here. My nephew, he lives in Atlanta, and he trains all the time. He's a big adventurer, like I was saying. So he was ready for it. He was like loping, just running up the trails, right? And I'm struggling trying to get to the top. And so we're trying to do 12 miles that first day, and we got to about 8 when it got really dark, and then we decided we'd go back a few miles because we had run out of water, and we had to go back and get water. And after that, we had to go down to get water because it was a ridgetop trail, and we had to go down to get water. And once I got down, I wasn't going back up. I was like, "Yo, dude, this is it. I'm done." And to me, that's still like something like, man, if I can get back in shape, I'm gonna go do that again because I can't. That whipped my butt, man. And but it ended up being a good trip because what we did, we had also rented a cabin that we were actually going to like a few days later. But they let us in there early, and then we found this place to rent motorcycles, and then we did the Tail of the Dragon, and we did some gravel riding. We rented adventure bikes, and we did all these gravel fire roads back off in there and all this kind of stuff. And so like it turned out a good trip anyway. But yeah, that still gets in my mind, gets in my head every now and then that, that I didn't make that. You know, yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah.
All right. Who have been the three most influential people in your life, and how have they impacted you?
Yeah, well, my parents, of course, right? And so it might be more than three. I'm saying, but and then another guy was like this friend of my dad. Like they had both been in World War II, but in different places. Like my dad was in the Army, he was in the Navy, right? But that's his best friend from. I mean, this is when people used to know each other from elementary school, that kind of stuff, right? And they grew up together, man. And this guy. Well, he was just a cool guy anyway. He owned his own hamburger stand over in Sunnyside, and I guess he bought that with like some disability money that he had, because this guy, man, he had one leg, and I didn't ever know it. Because he was the guy I was saying about. We used to go hunting on his uncle's property and all that, and one day we just happened to be sitting in the car, and he crossed his legs, and I could see, that he had a fake leg, and I was like, this guy is just crazy, because I mean, he just, he'd get out there, be climbing hills. He didn't care. At one time, somebody robbed his hamburger stand, which was a mistake. So, back then, it was illegal to keep guns around and stuff. But he kept a gun he kept a rifle in his hamburger stand, right? He went and hunted these dudes down. He ain't never catch them. Police caught him, brought him back to his hamburger stand. They said, you can't go killing people like that. But I mean, this guy, just nothing stopped him. He was missing two fingers, and I heard that was from, like, he used to set depth charges or something, and somehow his fingers got caught in the mechanism. He lost those two fingers. Nothing stopped this guy, and like him and my old man, I learned a lot from them. And then my uncle, he was another one of my big heroes, man. Mainly, he worked on cars. That's how kind of how I got to be a mechanic. It's like, man, I go over there every Sunday, pop the hood, put a cup of coffee on the car, and we be down in the hood, working on cars and that, And so they had, a lot of big influence on me. Yeah, yeah.
If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Oof. I think really, kind of helping young people, like not necessarily kids, but like, 20, 25-year-old, because there's a lot of people like, at REI, they don't really have a direction. It's like we hanging out here till we figure out what we're doing, and so it'd be kind of good. Like I, try to talk to them some, because it's like, REI is a great place, but, it's better to make the money now and then come back to REI than it is to just be here the whole time and not really be directed, toward what you want to do. And, yeah. But, yeah, I'd like to be remembered for helping people. Because, like I said, I come from a family of educators, and man, that was the one thing. My mother could go to any store in the city of Houston and run into her students. Man, we'd be out just somewhere, Miss Cook, and they just loved her, because, she helped them. She was just an English teacher, right? But, she gave them more than that, So it'd be nice to, kind of be like on that level,
If you could travel back in time and give your 18-year-old self advice, what would it be?
It probably would have been to like get out of the engineering field sooner than I did, and then get into something else and really concentrate on getting my own business going. Stuff like that, yeah.
So be a business owner like way earlier.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Are there any books, movies? Do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any books, movies, or other podcasts that have been helpful to you that you'd like to share?
Man, I love Neil deGrasse Tyson. Man, Star Talk. That is just one beautiful, well done podcast. Man, like him, and then this other one called Ologies, which is, it's like she gets people like a biologist and just all kind of weird ologists on this show, and they talk about what they do, and that's really good. I like that one too. And then books. So I'm a big fantasy reader, and so the Tolkien series, Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit were my favorite literature of all time. But then there are other like self-help books. There's this guy, I think Mark Devine. He was ex-Navy SEAL, did a book called Unbeatable Mind, and I think that was really good. And then and this is all like team building stuff. I really like building teams, and that's kind of how I kind of like try to deal with the department, I ain't the boss, but I like to have a team around me, where I go like, hey, let's help each other do this, and pretty much we do, But this other lady, and I can't remember her name, but she was one of the first women on Everest, and she was talking about how she built her team to do that, and I like the way she would describe her people, because it's like we're all equals, and I'm not the team boss. I'm just the guy that says, hey, what about this? And then from there we go on, and I like that, that method of team building rather than, having, one person leading the team, just like all of us going like, because I think everybody else gets more out of it if they have to think about it too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. What do you think the world will look like in the next 5 to 50 years?
God help me. No, seriously, it's like it depends on these kids. It depends on who ends up running the country and the world in the next few years. That I think really important, man. I think there are some people who could really mess up this thing, and it could be that dystopian future that you read about in all the science fiction books. It could go that way, or it could be a much more beautiful place, depending on who does what and how. Because man, that's one thing I see. A lot of kids, they don't. And I don't know, maybe it's because the areas that I live in, but I don't see them out there. Like in the 60s, we were all active, politically active, out there, going like, yo, this is wrong, this is right, let's change this, And now there are some groups, like the Black Lives Matter groups and, just, several other groups that are out there saying things, but they're small compared to the way we had that many people at at UT right one time, and I didn't even care about this, but it was like right after the 60s, and people didn't know what to protest about anymore because like the 60s were over and Vietnam was over and all that, and they had a protest just for because they didn't like the way that the president of the university was put in that position.
Okay.
You had 30,000 people at that. You don't get Black Lives Matter. You get maybe 1,000 people. Yeah, I mean the number of people who get involved in stuff now is like incredibly small compared to the number of people, because they felt they had to listen to, you have to listen to 30,000 people because you can't get crowd control on 30,000 people, whereas not, you got 1,000 people,
Not allowed is doing something to incriminate yourself, make yourself look worse.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly. So, and
Do you ever dabble in any type of like conspiracy theories about?
I try not to. I try to just take whatever the world dishes out. It's like, okay, I know this is coming, that's coming. So I like, I'm like, and that's part of the reason I stay in shape is like, I'm ready for it. We grow some of our own food, and I can hunt. Well, I grew up hunting and fishing, so it's like I can take care of if it really gets bad, I can take care of myself. I can take care of my family, and some things worry me, conspiratorially speaking, because if certain groups take over or get an upper hand, it could get a lot worse, especially for black people, 'cause we're always on that, the bottom end of that thing, man, and it's kind of rough. But so I really, and that's kind of part of the reason I stay in shape is so I can take care of my family, and my friends, and like I say, build my team around me, and do what we got to do to stay where we are, stay alive or whatever, So it's like not really conspiracy, but it's like just in case,
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna be just a little more ready than the regular guy,
Right. Do you think that the country could ever turn into a dictatorship style country?
I think it could.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think it could. It's like because you got a certain number of people who just not paying attention at all.
Yeah.
And then you got those people you got people on both ends, right and left, who may be more involved in it, but there's certain groups. One of those groups has the guns, all right, and then that can tip the balance of the scale, and I think if they want to, and that's the part I really don't understand is like, why would you want to start another civil war? Why would you want a dictatorship? You go look at the Gaza Strip. You go look at places. You go look at the civil war we had the last time. Look at all the bodies and stuff like that. That'll knock us back 100 years in the progress we've made. Why would you want to do that? Right. But there's people who want to do that because they don't feel like they got a fair shake this time. I don't know.
There's actually a movie coming out soon called
Civil War. I know. I saw the previews for it the other day. Yeah. And I hope that's the conclusion of it is like, why would we want to do this? Because to me it's still kind of crazy, but
So there's something called I don't know. I guess I'll call it a group called the 3 Percenters. Mm-hmm. Basically saying that if something like that were to happen, there's only about 3% of the country who would take up arms and fight back. Mm-hmm. Do you think you'd be in that 3%, or you think you would get out the way?
That's a good question. I wouldn't get out the way. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't run. If it came to me, mm-hmm. then I've always been taught to do what I got to do. Right. So if it came to me, that's the case. Personally, I just want to move to Hawaii and have Hawaii secede from the freaking union. Because, just, hey, y'all, if y'all want that country, y'all go ahead and mess it up, and I will stay over here. But, barring my being able to do that, and barring, Hawaii being able to secede from the union, I got to be right here. Right. And if I'm here,
At one point, weren't they talking about Texas doing that?
Yeah.
Or was that
a bunch of idiots.
Or?
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. Some people hear nonsense and go like, yeah, and that's what scares me because, some of these people ain't that smart, and it's like, that sounds like a good idea. And I'm like, okay, let's go look at history. Yeah. What happened? All these people got killed, 50,000 people died. Do you want that? You want to burn down everybody's house so we all have to start over? I don't get that, man. But yeah.
If you could have coffee with any historical figure, who would it be and why?
Ooh, oh man, that's a good question. Dang. Well, it might be more than one. Okay, one of my favorite characters in history is Frederick Douglass. Mm-hmm. Him, I'd like to sit down and just talk to for a while, and then, probably JFK, because I never really, from looking at everything I've seen, everybody's like, oh, JFK, he's great, but he never really had time to do anything that I thought really helped. That really, he did the thing with the Cold War and all like that, but it's really far as helping civil rights in the country and anything. He kind of, thought about it, but he never got a chance to do anything. He got his brains blown out before he could even, do it. And that would be like somebody I'd like to sit down and go, so what were you planning on doing? You seem like a cool guy. So, what is the deal there? Yeah.
And speaking of, assassinations, I never would have thought Obama would have made the whole 8 years.
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to make it.
I didn't either.
In my first year of college, when he was inaugurated,
mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, he won. I don't think they're going to let him.
Yeah. And the worst part about that, as long as there were politicians, there were senators, one from this area, mm-hmm. who were calling for people to take up arms against him and kill him. Now, had that been any other president previous to him, the Secret Service would have been at your door going, you threatened the president's life. Yeah. Nobody did the thing. It was just like, well, they're just talking. No, they're not just talking. You need to bring you need to squelch that kind of stuff. You just, hey,
That's how it goes when it comes to us, man. And it's like we've been trying to get them to see that for the longest time. And now that we got social media is so big and everybody's got a phone or a camera somewhere, mm-hmm. we're able to capture a lot of it. But a lot of these dudes are still getting away with certain things
Yeah.
free, you know, and
Mhm.
it's of course we know racism, you know, has always really been a thing,
Yeah.
but it's so blatant that it's unbelievable. Even when you're sitting there watching it, it's so unbelievable that you can be simply minding your business, and people just don't want you even sitting here.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
You know, like you don't
Uh,
belong.
yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. It is.
If you won $10 million tomorrow, what's the first thing you would do, and how would you spend the rest of it?
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so the first thing I would do, well, 10 million is enough to take care of my family, and not just this group right here, but my extended family. So the first thing I would do is probably buy real estate in the form of like apartment complexes. I don't know how many I can get. Might be only be able to get one for $10 million. I don't know, but to do something like that, so they'd have income coming in, and then appointing the right people in my family to watch over it. I might have to hire somebody. I'm not sure to watch over, because I've thought about it. If I win the lottery, shoot, that's what I'm doing. And then packing my stuff, like I said, and moving to Hawaii, because I've been to Hawaii. I love Hawaii. I've always been like a weather-centric person, because I'm an outdoors guy, right? And to live in a place where the malls don't even have roofs on them, is just like, oh, I can handle this, yeah, and the hottest it gets is maybe 85 degrees, and the rest of the time it's like 70, 80, just sitting in that little band, that little perfect band. Yeah, I can handle it,
I never put two and two together. That would explain the lush vegetation and yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And then that actually leads into the next question. So I got that answer is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would that be?
That'd be it. There you go. All right. Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah.
All right. Would you say you're more of an introverted person or an extroverted person?
Introverted.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and I don't know. I don't know if you could tell it at work, but in my previous job, and in just my previous whole life, I've always been more introverted. But there, it's funny. At REI, I got a story to tell, because, everybody asks me about, because they want to know your background as far as camping and kayaking and all that before they believe anything you say.
Yes.
So in that way, I feel like I'm extroverted in that I'm telling stories all the time, but previous to that, I was just a very introverted person, because you tell people stuff, number one, they use it against you. And number two, half the time they say, you wrong. So I'll just keep it right here. Yeah.
I think we're really similar in that aspect. I have a lot of people that say, there's no way you're introverted. No, yes I am. But the thing about me is that it's not gonna look that way if we share similar interests.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Now you're giving me a reason to just blab.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So if we know a lot of the same stuff, or we do a lot of the same things, immediately we feel connected and kind of like we've been knowing each other. And introverted people, they're more extroverted around friends and family and things like that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way, very good way to put that. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So outside of Hawaii, what's the best trip you've ever taken, and what sets it apart from your other trips?
Japan. Yeah, I love Japan. Yeah, I've been there twice. My daughter's been there with me once. My family's been there with me once, and man, it's just, it's the thing about Texas, it's always like, oh, don't mess with Texas, keep it clean, but we don't do anything. Yeah. We got stuff falling out the back of our pickups off down the road, Shoot, man, them people there, they clean up stuff. They, every morning they're out there, cleaning their little plot. And they're friendly, they're talking to you all the time. You need something? You need help? Here, maybe we don't speak the same language, and I had a little Japanese, so, I can speak a little Japanese and, and get around, and that was cool. And they were just, I don't know, they did what they said they were going to do. It wasn't bragging or boastful. It's just like, this is it. I'm going to go do it. I'm like, okay. And I love that about Japan, man.
Was that trip more so of you experiencing the city, or did you do anything outdoors?
No, I didn't really do well. We went up. We were on this lake that's right across from Mount Fuji, and we went up to the top of that mountain so we could see Mount Fuji from there. But we did that on a tram. That was as close as I came to doing any outdoor stuff. The rest of the time, yeah, I was in the cities, and well, we went for a bike ride. You know, they had we have the bike trails along the bayou. They had one along a river, and the hotel I was staying in would loan you a bike. So so me and my daughter and one of her friends, we went and and did some of that, and that was fun too. So I didn't really get to go outdoors as much as I would like, but I got to see a little of it. And to me, like the city, like they always talk about Tokyo being so crowded and everything. Not during the day, because everybody go to work, then I'd come out of my shell, and run around town. It was nothing, Yeah, but it was a beautiful place. Yeah.
One day I'm gonna get there.
Yeah.
All right. You said you wanted to write a book. What would it actually be about?
I've written a book.
You did?
Yeah, I
You
did.
published it?
Yeah, I never published it.
Oh.
Yeah, no, and so one time, I told you I used to go on the road to do work, right? And so I was working in Beaumont, and I told myself every night I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna write for 15 minutes, and I wrote a book, and it took me better part of a year.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Ananiah and the Dragons. It's a fantasy book, about a little girl who, her mother had passed, and she had a certain attitude, because of that, right? But then when stuff kind of hit the fan around her village and stuff, she got a little bit more. She got a little bit more involved in the village and the people, and was able in the end to help them. And I wrote that, and I don't know why. It's hard to find a publisher, or even an agent, who wants to look at your stuff if you haven't written stuff, which is amazing. Or you weren't, you're not a celebrity of some sorts, because you look at like athletes and stuff that write books, and you're like, how can he get a book published and I can't, And it's just a matter of that thing is not being able to, not having the credentials as a writer. Or a celebrity to be able to tell a story.
Wow.
And I may still someday publish that book if I can find somebody. I don't know. Yeah, because self-publishing doesn't give me what I want. I don't want to just say, okay, I put a book out there, read it if you want. I want to be able to somebody else to read it, or like a publisher to read it and go like, this is worth publishing.
Yeah.
That would mean something to me.
Right.
Yeah.
If your worst enemy wrote a book about you, or maybe somebody who you feel doesn't really like you.
Yeah.
What do you think that book would be about, or the title of it?
What would be the title?
Do you have a nemesis?
Yeah, well, no, not anymore. But I did in the engineering field, and it would probably be. I don't know if they would say lazy, introverted, guy who doesn't understand capitalism. Because it was really. I don't know anybody who worked in the field is just really just loved the field. It's all about let's make that money.
Yeah.
Can we do more to make that money? Let's do that. And so that's about. My nemesis was in that field. The two nemesis that I've had were both in that field, and and I think both of them would have made some statement like that, and that would be the title,
This one's very relaxed.
Okay.
If you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, ribeye steak.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even have to think. Yeah, just throw me a ribeye,
What is your biggest pet peeve?
Ooh. That's a good question. I got a lot of small ones. I don't know if I have like a big one. It's just like traffic. I don't know. No, just.
Yeah. That was tough for me too, because I'm one of those people that's annoyed about everything.
Yeah. There you go.
So I don't really have a one that's like, oh, I hate people.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah. And you might have one when you're young. But when you get older, when you get my age, it's like you got a bunch of them. So and it becomes smaller as you go along, because like you might have one that's huge, but then over time that one gets smaller because it's going up. Well, no, I got this one gets about 10%. That one's gone down about 10%. Yeah.
And then we'll close it with this one. What was your favorite subject in high school, or school in general, and why?
It's funny. So we were talking about engineering and stuff, but I had this drafting instructor, and I had never been able to draw anything, and I was like, and when I was in this is in middle school, or we used to call it junior high, you had two subjects that the boys were supposed to take. There was wood shop and there was drafting. Man, I wanted to get in wood shop, and I got in wood shop and I built me something. And the next semester I was supposed to take drafting, and I was like, what is this stuff, man? I don't want to do this stuff. I want to go back to wood shop, be a man, build stuff. Because my dad, that was his hobby too, is building stuff out of wood, and so I wanted to be in there. And then I got in that class, and and I learned how to draw stuff, and I learned how to draw stuff in 3D. And now, you do it all on computer, but we did it all by hand, man. And I just fell in love. And I started doing it. I even went to a state competition in it, because, I just could do it that well, and it was just something that really, I don't know what clicked in my head, but that clicked in my head. And I was like, hey, cool. And that was my most favorite subject.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm going to add one more. If you had a message that you want to give to the world, what would that message be?
Ooh, yeah. After a certain time, you got a lot of messages, But no, it would probably be, to chill out and to love each other and to get outdoors, because that's where it's really at. I mean, and a lot of people trying to bring us all, show us what our differences are, and everybody just wants to eat and live, in the end, right? You want to get richer and you want to do this and you want to do that, and maybe you want dominion over other people. I don't know why, because if they just left me alone, I'd be fine, But yeah, just, that's it, man. Just, live, love, and go outdoors,